Sutton goes up to hit the lead from Strong. He's coming with a swooping run now.
He's put it up on the inside.
What a powerhouse finish. It's a
Might have nearly got there in a three-way go here.
The trio on the far side.
The cleaners on his mission out wide.
Oh, did she get there?
Saturday Arvo Racing returns this week with one of the great days on the Australian racing calendar. In Sydney, the stallion-making Golden Rose is the headline act as the best three-year-olds go head-to-head for $1 million in prize money and untold riches in the breeding barn. This year, Godolphin are striving for back-to-back wins in the Golden Rose, with the brilliant last-up winner Astern and the untapped potential of Impending. Across the border, Flemington plays host to Victoria's premier weight-for-age mile race, the Makybe Diva Stakes. The tough sprinter miler Blackheart Bart will start favourite in the race that has produced only 3 favourite winners in the past 15 years. We will also saddle up Australian Guineas winner Palantino and Melbourne Cup hero Prince of Penzance in a 3-pronged attack on the $500,000 race. Well, for racing fans all around Australia, this is one of the great days. We're here above the magnificent, iconic Flemington Racecourse, and the Makybe Diva Stakes is the headline act there. As we say, a big hello and welcome to Sevens Live.
Sofitel race 4. They're ready. Away they go at the 1,400 metres. Bonorum a touch slow and goes back with Smirk and Joey and Wales, and Tashby first out with Prince of Brooklyn away very quickly today and finds the lead ahead of Tashby. Riz is deep at third. Just Magical on the move, wider still, pressing towards the front. In behind them Honorius and High World and Marwood in that bunch of horses as well. As they race down the side, Ullman is making ground around the outside. Nazami's well back by the 1,000 metres in some traffic, and they're being followed by Bonorum. Back behind those horses then is Rose of Virginia, about 7 or 8 away from the lead. They're not going all that hard. And then Wales and Smoke and Joey. So Tashby is controlling the speed of the race and leads narrowly from Just Magical. And Ullman's on the deep move around the outside. Prince of Brooklyn now waiting right behind them. And Bonorum had to get going deep to get into the race. And he's off the course about 4 and 5 wide, putting in a run. And they were followed by Riz as they swing the corner. And then Honorius in the straight now. They race below the 500 metres. And it's Tashby, Prince of Brooklyn, get up on the inside of him. Just Magical and Ullman wider, and Bonorum is the deepest with the lime cap. It's Tashby kicking in at the 300, only narrative from Ullman, claiming them Bonorum. Bonorum on the outside, he's got a head full of steam and he's taken over by about a length now from Ullman. Tashby nothing else, but it's all Bonorum. He races away. Bonorum easily by 2 lengths to Ullman. High World got up for third ahead of Tashby, I'd say, and then Prince of Brooklyn, Nazami and Marwood. A break to Honorius, Just Magical, Riz and then came with those Rose of Virginia. They were trailed then by well back in the field was Honorius for hadn't called her over the line, and Wales one of the last in, and Smoke and Joey is a long last.
Well, Craig Williams put Bonorum into the race because the tempo dropped out. Tashby went forward, they stacked them up, and Craig Williams, well, this is what you love about an elite jockey, Simon Marshall. He made a decision to say, I've got to get into the race, no use sitting back, and Bonorum did the rest.
Well, this guy won sitting 3 and 4 deep as a 3-year-old 1,400 metre race, leading into the Caulfield Guineas this time last year in spring. Now, his first up run this time in didn't quite suit him at Caulfield. Tight turning track, he got held up. He worked the line quite nice for third. Money came on. Kieran Maher, he's a big punting stable. When the punters put the money on, be sure that they're going to run well. Ullman have every chance. Damien Oliver decided to ride forward. As you mentioned, Richo, there was no speed in this race. Tactically, they were always going to dominate it on pace. Now that is High World getting out behind him in the black cap. He ran on nice for third, but you have a look at Craig Williams here in the lime sleeve. He likes to ride his horses hands and heels, let them down nicely, let them through their gears. Look how big he is on screen. Ullman, red cap, every possible chance. Tashby on speed, sat outside the leader in the all blue with the white striped cap. He dropped back from weight for age class. Don't put a line through him. He had another good gallop here today.
John Thompson, nice second, and the favourite Allergic runs third. The Danehill Stakes is a beauty. It's a Group 2 sprint race for the 3-year-olds. Defcon, last start winner, is a $3.20 favourite. Saraceno is a really fascinating runner from New Zealand. More on him shortly. He's our second favourite at the moment on the tote for the Danehill Stakes. And number 1 is Defcon, Dwayne Dunn and Peter and Paul Snowden combined. Well, the Snowden team have already had a winner in the colours of James Harron Bloodstock. And Defcon was a terrific winner in the McNeil. Now, the only query for mine, over 1,200 metres in the Danehill, is the inside gate sign, but you've got him on top.
I've got him on top, Richo, because he's a horse that'll sit back, get cover and use that electrifying turn of foot, and we saw Sydney horses handle the straight well.
OK, more on him from you.
He's on test for the Coolmore, remember?
And Trenchant's on test for not only the Caulfield Guineas, but also they nommed this horse for the Cox Plate, and they've played a first acceptor for him, the Godolphin operation. It's probably going to be too short for him.
Jeez.
But he's got some talent.
He's a beautiful colt. Have a look at him. He'll be settling back midfield, hitting the line. They might be just a bit sharp for him here.
Now, here's my top selection, and this is the Kiwi sprinter trained by Murray Baker and Andrew Forsman, who comes across. Damien Oliver decides to go with him. He won a Group 2 first up in New Zealand. He's drawn the centre of the track. Ollie can pick where he goes here. And you go back through his form, every day that he raced ran a really good time compared to others. I think there's a lot of upside, and because there's a query with Defcon on the inside barrier, I ended up settling on him on top.
Well, the Baker team from New Zealand, they know what they're doing. Beat the older horses on that occasion, so you might be onto something.
Number 4 is Archive. You just missed him, so we move to Valiano, Damien Lane and Lindsay Park Racing. He is second up from a spell. What did you make of his run in the vein?
It was a good return because he carried the 57.5 kilos there first up. Look, he loves the 1,200 and he likes to roll along and sit up on the speed. So he'll be one that they have to run down here at Flemington. Look, he's had the one go there at Flemington when he was a younger 2-year-old. Put a line through that, give him another chance today. And his stablemate is Highland Beat, who you've been bullish on. His first 2 runs this preparation have been superb. He was set to win the McNeil last start at Group 3 level and all but did to beat Defcon. Now, Defcon got into a little bit of trouble, as we know, at the top of the straight and blew him away that last 50 metres. That's my only query with Highland Beat, but he's honest. Don't leave him out of your multiples. He looks to have trained on very well. He's not getting too upset. He is a colt. Here is the Queensland Invader, trained by John Zilke and Bobby Elissa, who's fought back from cancer. He's back in the saddle, riding really well. We wish him all the very best today. Can he get a feature win here in the Danehill? This horse has form behind Attention, so the Snowden team could get a good line through the toppy here in Defcon. Don't disregard this horse. Well, he won over 1,000 metres first up, which was good. Then he was tested over the mile, so he likes to roll along up in front. Here's my best roughie in the race, and it is Jaws of Steel, who resumes today. When he won the Mornington Sires, I thought, gee, this is a really nice horse. Doesn't he look superb? I loved his run at Flemington over 1,400 metres behind Sebring Dream. He then went to a Group 1 in Queensland. It was too much for him there, the way the track played. I think he can run a terrific race fresh. Number 9 is Damn Ready. This gelding here was terrific first up at Moonee Valley, tight turning track. Now, the unbeaten Ken's Dream led all the way and beat him in that race, or sat on the speed to beat him in that race. He will improve. He'll enjoy the Flemington Gallop here, the big wider spaces. Luke Curry from Barrier 6, he'll sit back off a nice hot speed here and he'll have the last crack at him. He's a big improver here, number 9. Number 10 was in me in the Aquanita colours. Luke Nolan taking the ride here for Stewie Webb. In his very first preparation, this colt by Wanted. Excuse me. He's doing a very, very good job as I cough. Number 11 is Hardham. Hardham, the key here, Richo, is the blinkers on. He's been going okay just behind him. Russian Revolution, he ran 5th too, and he just sort of, it was still another gear there, I thought, and the same again with Defcon, back in behind them. He just got out up a touch. He had a searching trial with the blinkers on. He's my best roughie, number 11. How good is this filly, Samara Dancer? We saw her win the Blue Diamond Prelude as a 2-year-old, then she failed in the Blue Diamond. We haven't seen her since. Jaws of Steel is my blowout horse. Now, the stallion making race a little later in the spring is called the Coolmore, 1,200 metres. This is a great test for these 3-year-olds running down the straight. Will they go towards the Coolmore and put their hand up and stake their claim? Yeah, there'll be some that will use this race as a first up and then head towards the Caulfield Guineas over 1,600 metres. Some will stay as sprinters. This should be a beauty. Here's Greg Miles to call the action from the Danehill.
To come along on the outside for Bobby Alessa. Goes into the gates. And they're ready to go. Favourite drawn, barrier 1, Defcon. They're set. And they're off. Defcon jumped well on the inside ahead of Hard and Beat, and Saracino got away quickly, so did Damn Ready, and towards the outside Archives with the white cap showing speed, but Dreams of Plenty and Jaws of Steel drops in behind these horses. As they settle down, they all come towards the grandstand side of the course, and settling into stride, Saracino shows the way. Defcon towards his left is trying to get up into second placing. Damn Ready and Valiano are handy with Archives with the white cap near the outside. Hard and Beat in the pink colours looking for a run behind them, and they're followed by Hardem. Wasn't Me in traffic. Dreams of Plenty ahead of it with Samara Dancer out wider, and towards the end is Trenchant there in company with Jaws of Steel. Now they're coming towards the 400 metre mark. Saracino towards the outside as the leader from Damn Ready, and Archive starting to run on from Samara Dancer. Defcon still about 3 lengths to make up. He's just battling away. Saracino at the 200. Damn Ready coming at it. Archives joining in, then Samara Dancer, Valiano. Saracino still in front, about 100 metres to go. From Archives starting to lift on the outside. Saracino with Archives. Saracino pulling out Plenty, and Saracino beat Archives by a neck. Samara Dancer third. Wasn't Me. Got home strong when it was all over, and then came Damn Ready, Valiano, and the next one over was Hardem. They were trailed further back by Valiano. Well, Defcon, maybe a victim of the straight. He was battling a good way from home. Hard and Beat and Trenchant towards the end from Dreams of Plenty, and Jaws of Steel along last.
We've got a new contender for the spring key races here. That was a terrific performance by Saracino, because what he did there, Simon, he did it at both ends. He led throughout, and that's really hard to do down the straight of Flemington.
It is, but they didn't go hard, Richo. There was a bunched mob of them, and you can see Damien Oliver to your right of screen. He just trucked and travelled up beautifully. You can see Archives, Craig Williams just cuddled as long as he could on the big chestnut there. Samara Dancer to the left of the screen in the lime cap. There was only about 3 to 4 lengths between them. Defcon to the right of screen could never get cover drawn that awkward barrier in barrier 1. He was always facing the breeze and on the right rein. He just wasn't tracking down the straight as well as you would like, and that took away his sprint and ping. So he mightn't be a straight track horse, or he needs to draw an outside barrier to tuck back in behind them and then be produced late. But this was controlled beautifully by Damien Oliver. They're two different races, if you like, coming out of the straight. The straight is like a bowling green. 2 different tracks, I should say. It's like a bowling green. Then you join the course proper, where they've used the track on plenty of occasions. It's a different service, and when you can cuddle and travel and slap your horse down the shoulder and keep it nice and balanced, and you're just going nice and quiet in front, you're always going to find. The Group 1 placing form stood up. This horse beat the older horses at Group 2 level in New Zealand. It's always handy when you beat the older horses on their home track. So the spruik was there. Damien rode him a treat, controlled it, and the class prevailed with 50 to go.
And he was trained by a man who knows so much about the Melbourne Spring Carnival, Murray Baker, in a partnership with Andrew Forsman. And, of Mongolian Khan fame, he's had so many great gallopers over the years. And terrific win to Saracino. He captured a couple of features with Turn Me Loose last carnival as well. $6.70 and $2.20 for Damien Oliver. Archives at $2. Samara Dancer, well, that would please Philip Stokes. There's a nice return by the Flying Filly. 3, 4, 12 and 10. Let's hear from the superstar jockey, Damien Oliver.
Ollie, Saracino, she was sharp today.
Yeah, it was good, Sammy. I've been on his back a couple of times in a trial and gallop, and he showed me a lot of raw potential, but the penny hasn't quite dropped with him yet, so a good effort for him to win first time down the straight.
And Murray Baker, we know time and time again where he gets a good horse in his hands. He knows the right time to bring him over here and for the good races.
Yeah, spot on, Sammy. Yeah, if Murray brings one over, he's not bringing it over to make up the numbers. They're going to be competitive. He's been a good judge with a good horse over a long period of time, so it's nice to ride one for him.
And coming down the outside like that, obviously jumping, sitting up on the speed, but it can be a bit tricky for horses. And as you say, he was still a bit new.
Yeah, correct. There's not a big wind factor today in the races, so I think it'll be more tempo related as to where you're sitting. So I think that's important. He was able to sit up on the pace, face the breeze, and stick on strong.
How far can this horse get?
Yeah, look, he's got good speed. I'm not sure if he can stretch it out to a mile at this stage. 1400 wouldn't be a problem with him, but we'll probably just see how we go.
Well done, Ollie.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, the next step for him will be interesting. Does he tackle the older horses in a race like the Sir Rupert Clark 1400 metres at Caulfield? Do they keep him as a sprinter? Does he move towards the Caulfield Guineas? Well, Murray Baker has that big decision. Big decision coming up. The Golden Rose, our feature from Rosehill Gardens next.